conversation, where your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions help drive the conversation. You know, today we're going to talk about key ingredients to loving yourself, and we have a sponsor as well as I guess a very good friend of the show who's going to call in a little bit later. Her name is Gloria Davis Armstrong. And so, but in the meantime, we're going to just talk a little bit about key ingredients to loving yourself. And I guess that would be different for everyone. For me, I guess the key ingredients to loving yourself is first and foremost by being true to yourself. That is my first ingredient.
That's your
That's
main
my
ingredient?
main ingredient, is to be true to yourself.
You know what?
I
I have to agree with that.
Thank you. See how good
I have-
Dang.
You are good.
But you know, the contrast to that is being good to yourself oftentimes create contrast as to what is political, what is appropriate. See, this is you, Manners Maven. You always want to be politically correct and socially appropriate. And,
Right.
and me and Daydream, honoring ourselves means honoring ourselves and not
Absolutely.
caring.
I'm more like
my
OMG.
And First Lady over here,
The
you
First
know.
Lady, yes. The First Lady wants to be everyone to be happy and smiling and everything to work out.
Feel
And
accommodated.
want to be graceful and
yeah.
accommodated and well.
Have you watched Greenleaf? The First Lady is always right, and she don't care about nobody's feeling on that show. So
No, she's not that type of First Lady. She's got an edge.
that's the
My
way
edge
life
may be
is
a little
supposed to
too
be
soft.
lived with
It
an edge.
is
Yeah.
good.
And
But
it's
you
just-
know, I'm not sure if, and I'm sure you out there listening, you have key ingredients that work for you. And all of us love ourselves differently, and all of us provide self-care differently.
Yeah.
You know, as I mentioned, my first priority for key ingredients would be to be true to myself, and secondarily, to be true to my temple. I am very cautious of what I eat. I'm cautious of what enters my body, what and who.
And so
So
you
you
should be.
And so, you know, it's very important that you take care of your person. And I'm sure that when Gloria, you know, calls in, she will give us the key ingredients to loving yourself. And some of these things are pretty much universal. You know, I'm just picking out what I feel is you know, indigenous to me.
Right.
And so, what about you, Lightning?
Key ingredients for me probably is one that is a natural default is adequate sleep.
Okay.
Adequate sleep. You know, if I don't have enough sleep, I am somebody else. So it is.
you need your beauty rest.
Yes, I mean you can't look like this forever, you know. But you know.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
According
exactly.
to Dr. Miami, yes you can.
But good rest for me, and as a result of that, you know, I don't know if it's conditioned or if it's just part of my biological rhythm. I fall asleep consistently at 11 o'clock, and I wake up at 6 a.m. all the time. I always get at least 7 hours or more of
That's your
sleep,
body clock.
and without it, I'm just not a normal person. So that would have to be my foundation.
Okay. Wow. Daydream?
See, my thing is, I don't take care of my body. If I want to eat it,
At
I'm going
least
to
you
eat
know,
it.
but
Yes,
you know.
I know. Yeah, that's the good thing. That's
She's
At least
been
I know
acknowledging it.
She's
what
been
it
honest.
is.
Knowing is the beginning of
Right, so I
progress.
know what it is. I'm just,
The first
you know,
step.
And why is that, you think? Why do you think you just...
because I don't want to. Because it's easier
I
not
was just
to.
gonna say, is it too much work?
It's easier not to. It's easier to be complacent. It's easier to just let me just keep doing this and that. Wait, I got to switch up my routine. I have to make an effort into doing some
Yeah.
things.
Well, see,
And
that's all part of the growth process. And,
Right.
and as you get a little bit more...
see, I want the pretty. I want the
Mature.
pretty. I want the end result. I just don't want to deal
The
with the process
of
to get
getting
there.
there.
Let's just make it happen. That type
You
of
know
thing.
what? Having
But that's how I do honor myself. Is I know I don't have patience. I don't like waiting on other people. So when I want to do something, I get up and I go do it.
the
I
thing.
get
You know, so that's what I do for me. If that's what makes me happy. If I want to take a road trip, you know, it's a beautiful day today. So when I get done here, if I feel like driving down Austin, or you know, driving over to Austin,
Then you can do
chilling,
that.
then I'll do that. Go have some lunch, have an early dinner, or whatever, and then I'll drive back. So I'm that person. That's what I do. If I feel like I want to get up and go, I get up and go.
Okay.
I like that.
So,
That's good.
they, Silky.
I'm kind of like you, OMG. I go through the process. Exercise 3 or 4 times a week. I have a beauty regimen, morning and night. I wear certain kind of makeup. I have certain kind of clothes. I'm always particular about my skin. And you're right, Daydream. It is an effort every day if you want to maintain a certain health. I make sure I drink water. I eat certain kinds of food. I'm always conscious of everything. So you are right. It's an effort. And it is kind of easy to become complacent. So I kind of understand what you're saying because sometimes I get on my own nerves.
I can get,
You know,
I can get with that.
But then I keep
get with
going
that.
back, but then I get on my
get
own
that.
nerves, but I have to keep going back to do it. Like, I have to take
Well,
care of the
I'm a
space.
big
I have to.
I'm a big self-talker. I talk to
Yes,
myself.
I was just gonna say.
Marion, you need to go do this.
I do.
I was
It's
just gonna
time
say,
to go do that.
I was gonna say, is it an effort to stay loyal to the course, or is it an effort to embrace the regimen? Because I think, for you, having been a vegetarian as long as you have, it's not an effort. It's natural.
It's
It's,
natural
it's
for me.
organic for her.
It is.
And as a pescatarian, around the holidays when they start making stuff with bacon and pork, it becomes an effort for me.
But guys, we
I think
have
it's both.
guys,
It's
we
both.
have our authoress on the phone. Her name is Gloria Davis Armstrong. And again, I want to tell you that we are going to interview one of our show's biggest supporters and a sponsor, Gloria Davis Armstrong, on her new book, Key Ingredients to Loving Yourself. Now let me just throw this in there. Gloria was actually on the very first broadcast of All About You show as a co-host almost 2 years ago. Do you remember that, Gloria?
Wow. Woohoo.
Sure I do. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Miss
Hello.
Gloria.
Yeah, so Gloria's been around from day one when All About You hit the air. Fly, welcome to our show today. We'd like to thank you for joining us, and more importantly, thank you for writing your wonderful book. I truly love it, and I think that one of those little paths of your journeys, I remember very clearly. We were in college at the time. So tell us about your book. Tell us a little bit about Gloria Davis Armstrong.
Well, Gloria Davis Armstrong has had such a wonderful and blessed journey that I had to put it down on paper. And some of the discoveries I made, you guys were talking about earlier, about how you love yourself. And we love ourselves in different ways, but what I felt at the time was we didn't love ourselves enough.
Right.
There's so much self-centeredness in the world versus I'm going to love myself enough that I'm going to love you too.
There's
Because
room.
if you can't love yourself, you really can't love someone else.
Wow.
And the way I started this journey was my mom passed a little over a year ago, and my son had some puppies sent to me, and I picked my dog Blue. And in loving Blue and giving, this was my first pet ever.
Ever. You
Ever.
gotta hear this story. Go
With
ahead.
the dogs all my life. Wouldn't go to visit people who had dogs
She sure did.
early on. And when I met Mary's dog Blue, I fell in love. And I in turn got a Blue. And that dog showed me what unconditional love looks
There
like.
you go. There you go. You can get love from any angle. It comes from all different places.
And it's wonderful coming from pets because it is truly unconditional. I mean, you can forget to feed them, you can kick them, you can push them out of bed, and they might moan for a second, but they come right back without any retaliation.
Yeah, really.
They might chew up a shoe or two, but they
That's
still
listen,
love
They,
you.
they truly love you for who you are, though. Definitely.
I'm sorry, Fly. What'd you say?
No, but I'm just saying, they may chew up a shoe or two. I wish I could show people my shoes. But it's all good. But what I really wanted to bring out in the book is mainly old family recipes, food that was cooked with love, that people can now cook with love, prepare those dishes for their families, and also the self-care part.
Self-care is big. People need to really think about how broad that is and what it encompasses.
Well, my objective was to decrease the number of pills that the physician has chosen to put me on because of one medical condition or another. So that was my objective, and what I discovered in doing that was there are things that you can do for yourself. But love has to come from inside out.
That's true.
It's not what you put on. It's not the way you wear your hair. It's not how pretty you are. It's how pretty you are in the inside.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
unless you can love yourself inside from inside out, and that means you have to be careful of what you put in yourself.
This reminds me of something I learned in a therapy session with one of my therapists. And when first starting, he said, close your eyes, and he said, imagine yourself giving yourself exquisite self-care. And Gloria, what you speak about in your book sounds like that very concept, exquisite self-care, meaning honoring yourself,
Amen.
hearing your body, hearing your your body's cravings, needs, and whatever that may be, whether it's a wonderful, warm, home cooked meal or whether it's time off the grid. And that does sound like exquisite self-care. For me, the first thing that came to my mind is having, if you had someone to show up at your house to move your piano, you'd have them show up and move it with white gloves. So for me, not that I'm proposing someone to cook me one of these meals with, white gloves on or anything, but, but whatever exquisite self-care looks like.
The gumbo now.
Hey, you were reading my mind. I was thinking about the
This may not
gumbo.
be the traditional Louisiana gumbo, because one of my girlfriends came up from Houston this past week. But this is a health-conscious gumbo.
Right, it is.
Chili, full of vegetables, man, it's delicious.
It is. And I like that yours has okra in it because oftentimes people make gumbo and they don't put okra in it. And my thought of it is and I've heard people say because it comes out slimy, but I think a great cook such as yourself knows exactly the appropriate time to put it in. So thank you for including the okra in your gumbo recipe.
Oh, it's delicious and it's not slimy, believe me.
I was about to ask that question. Do you
I've
de-slime
converted
it?
non-okra eaters, say that, believe me.
I like the sound of
They're
that.
fighting over it.
How do you take the slime out of okra?
Ah.
And therein lies
You must buy the book.
There's the book.
You have to buy the book.
Kind of like those who like cactus nopala is the same way. Some people don't like it because of it's too slimy. Well, if you know how to cook it, if you know what you're doing,
Then
that's
doesn't
not an
cook.
issue.
So what is your what is your remedy for slimy okra?
Ah.
Buy the book.
Yeah, I'm about
My
to
book.
Okay, I have the book. So for those of you who don't get it, I'll be able to find out. So
I
I'll let you all know next week.
I have
But
placed my
look,
order.
the okra and the sauerkraut soup are so strong. I have people willing to invest in a food truck for me.
Ooh.
Wow.
They want me to go around and cook. Can you believe that?
That's a good idea.
Gloria's
You tapped into something right there.
famous phrase is, "Won't he do it?"
Won't
Talking
he do
about
it?
God.
All right,
Won't he
then.
do it? That's her
Absolutely.
famous saying. Won't
See,
he
Won't
do
he
it?
do it? Because
Okay.
really, as Marion knows, this book is a result of me going through a valley after the death of my mother.
I
And
remember.
how the family reaction to that death was not necessarily positive.
That's why I said I've been through the journey, some of this journey with you. I know quite a lot of it.
And earlier, Daydream, when you were saying how you, I'll finish that remark up. We think we have got to go to a break. So,
Gloria, just hold on a second, and
For real.
we'll be right back after this break. For those who would like to call in, speak to Gloria, ask her a few questions, or just chime in with your own, please give us a call here at the studio, 713-789-0096. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Bridge. Share your opinion by calling 713-789-0096. Stay
That's
tuned.
part of my hosting job.
What?
Is to go to work
Well,
and take calls. She
I'm
gave me
giving
the
a
hint. I
secret
never
to
had the
her,
chance to
so.
respond. That's okay.
Sorry, I gave him
That's
the
okay.
because I saw him turn
That's
this
okay.
way.
That's okay. I'm gonna take- I'm just making- That's okay. I'm just making a comment.
People like saying that. No, but people
They
like to
do
see
like
that, though.
They need to, yeah,
That's what they do.
they don't
We're just
know,
having a
man.
conversation.
Well,
Yeah,
good.
that's all.
Okay, so,
I just have the one
asked her to
question.
tell us about, no, I asked her to tell us about her. So I don't know if that's actually telling us about what inspired her life. So that would be different, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanna make sure, because.
Yeah.
Right?
do what now? You already asked her that, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I asked
She
her to
just,
tell us
she
about
wants to
her.
make sure she's not asking the same question twice,
Right.
and it is a different question.
Yeah, because I asked her, tell us about where you come from.
Now tell us about the
Now tell us about her.
Tell us about
Yeah, she was
Tell
getting
us
ready.
about-
She was getting ready to
Go
tell us
into
about
that
the
anyway.
inspired
Okay,
book
that's
about
fine.
her mother.
Tell us about
Yeah.
your opus. That's right. We're about
Well,
to
and,
learn.
and I think it's great that we have her online, but I do think that we also have to fill in some content to stretch out because
Well, we do.
we have to stretch out.
That's why I told you, I hadn't planned, yeah. I
Because
planned on our show.
In addition to having her remarks, she, unlike some of the other callers, she's a very calm and slow speaker. So we have
Gloria's
to
commercial.
fill in some stuff. This is whose commercial?
Gloria's.
Oh. Love the music. Love the background
Oh,
music.
I love that with the music and the
Oh, wait, that's yours.
Thank you, Edward.
Oh,
Evelyn's getting it down.
I love this.
problem.
You changed it since before I left.
I like that. I like how it sounds over there.
And you're
Both
not,
of
it
those are
doesn't
good.
sound like you're competing with the music.
Right.
I love it.
That made a difference. The volumes on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Both of them are good.
Thank you.
Sweet
sticky thing. You guys get it.
No, I'm trying to figure out how does that fit in. That's our song. What does that have to do with our song?
Well, when we said loving yourself, we were just thinking about the honey and the
And we are back. You're listening to All About You with OMG and Friends, where we talk about the things that you think about. We do have on the line with us an authoress by the name of Gloria Davis Armstrong. She has written a very poignant book called Key Ingredients to Loving Yourself, and that's where we are about now. Gloria, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
And we're glad to have you, trust me.
Before we went to break, OMG had asked you some questions, and I wanted to pose a question to you, Daydream. You said earlier, before our authors got on the phone, that it's easier for you to just not pay attention. And hearing the author say something, I think that resonates with you, OMG. When you witness someone else that you love go through their journey and see, and you have evidence of how they care for themselves and how it may or may not affect their latter stages in life, it is a quick way of making you pay attention to how you want to revise your
that ultimate
journey.
wake-up call.
You know, because to have a parent who had diabetes, apparently diabetes, immediately, you know, is a deterrent. It takes 10 years off of your lifespan. And for so many folks of minorities, people of color, oftentimes diabetes, high blood pressure, all these things run together. And a result, heart disease as a result of our diets. You know, when I learned of the history of that for my family, that was the thing that I immediately said, that made me change and decide to be a pescatarian.
And maybe that's why it hasn't resonated with me, because I have to
You haven't
say,
seen it yet.
my family, we're very blessed, very healthy.
Okay.
Well,
You
that's
know,
good.
very healthy.
But it's not necessarily also about health. Because really health is, to me, your mind has a lot to do with your health.
So
Yes, your
Physical-
mental health, absolutely.
physical health is an outpouring of your internal,
Of your thoughts,
yes, your emotional, mental.
and the tape you play in your mind
Mhm.
of what has happened in your history in your life.
Yes.
And I'll give you just for instance, I am a cancer survivor. When
Praise
I was diagnosed with cancer, my attitude was, Satan, get behind it.
Right.
A parent, I didn't have time for it.
Mhm.
So in turn, I've been cancer free since '94.
Wow.
Praise
Congratulations.
God.
That's right,
Yes.
that's right.
Whereas I was looking at a movie last night, and the lady was diagnosed with, they're like, she's already in the grave.
Wow.
So you
My
can
gratitude.
think yourself sick also.
Yeah. I like that you spoke to your circumstance with authority.
You
And
have to.
I believe that's who we are as creators. We must speak with authority to our circumstance and say, get thee behind me, or put it in its perspective place before we can move on. Yeah, I really
The power of life and death is in the tongue.
Amen.
That's
Amen.
right. Now, Fly, you mentioned also, when I asked you to tell us about Gloria Davis Armstrong, tell us a little bit now about the impetus or what inspired you to write the book. I know you were leading into earlier about when your mom had passed and how the family had, turned very negative with that degree. Can you
Oh,
finish with
yeah.
that? I'm sure that because that played a big part in writing this book. I'm sure.
Well, I'm just a little country girl from Sun Creek, Virginia, and I grew up on a farm. Came from farmers and sharecroppers. I'm 5 generations from slavery. I can trace it to my father's side of the family.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And God allowed me to go away to college, get a degree in mathematics, work for the Space Shuttle program for close to 20 years. And then I came back home to raise my son. And that's when the family dynamics really came into play. Because you never see jealousy and envy. It doesn't have a face. It may even bring it.
Usually it does.
But when a catastrophic incident occurs, it seems like that's when the true cards come out on the table.
Wow.
And I was a victim of that, and it did take me in a valley, but thank God he blessed me with a book.
So, in so many words, the book, tell us about the title. Explain the title of the book in relation to your having been in the valley during that point and writing the book, helping you elevate from that valley.
Most of my life, I have been taking care of other people. You know, I give and give and give. My mother said, you know, it's 5 foot of it away. And that's always been me. And then
Wow.
need others, there was no one there for my dog. In a sense. And that's what I relied upon. And then I did what the Bible said. I got still.
That's the
I
name.
turned off the TVs, I turned off the radios, I turned off all outside noise. And I started talking to God directly and going into myself and meditating, and man, it's marvelous.
See, now that's self-care. That's
It-
taking
that's
care of yourself.
exquisite.
That's exactly what
Yes.
exquisite is.
Oh yeah, I shine. I literally shine.
Was meditating a hard practice for you to adapt?
Well, we all have monkey brains, you know. We
Yes.
jump from idea to here to there to yonder.
Monkey mind, yes.
We're easily distracted. So what you have to do is really focus.
Okay.
Miss Gloria Fly. I like that
I
Fly.
where did that
I
come
want
from?
to call you Fly. I like that. I think that's
You
kind of
haven't
sexy.
earned the right.
Do you
yet.
want to
I
tell
haven't
them
earned it.
why I call you Fly?
Yeah, we
Yes,
need to hear
please.
this
You need
story.
to tell us why. But I'm.
All I remember, we were in college.
Yeah.
We were in college. That was like in 74, maybe 73, 74.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary's always been a diva, and I guess I've been a diva in my own way, because I was the blue jean wearing, like I said, I was a country girl, you know, and we just kind of hooked up and been flying together ever since, and I love her dearly.
So she's Fly.
She's
That's
always
my
fly.
sister.
Yeah, she's Fly to me.
So
Okay.
Fly, tell us a little bit more about this therapy. It sounds like this book was therapy for you. Is that the case?
Oh, amazing, because in writing the book, I really got to look at myself.
A lot of people don't get to do
You know, we
that.
never really look at ourselves.
Right.
Oftentimes we're told it's not appropriate.
Well,
You
we
have
all, depending on where you are, you have a label. You have several labels. You might be your mother's son, your aunt's nephew, your this and that and the other, and you grow up with these labels.
Mhm.
But what these labels actually do is kind of like brand you, put you in a box.
Restriction.
And unless you move away or re-identify yourself or reborn yourself, you're going to always be labeled.
Right. I like that. The courage
You
to
know,
go out
you
and
live
find.
within the label.
Yeah.
But see, none of us got to pick our journey. None of us got to pick our mother, father, sister, brother, cousin. You didn't get to pick where you were born.
What
You
color?
didn't get to pick your race.
Nothing.
You didn't get to pick your sex. You know, that's where God put you.
Wow.
So, because God put you there, to me, your life journey is finding out why.
Wow.
That's a
Courageous.
meaningful
Very
and a courageous.
courageous.
It is. It takes courage to accept the journey and then go ahead and start
Mhm.
taking steps, because that can be really scary, terrifying. Many people will not do it.
I
But
think this
it-
Well, I
is
know,
not do
because,
it.
you know, some people have, were born in abuse. You know, everyone's life wasn't as blessed as mine. You know, I ran up and down the road, eating berries and apples and fruits and nuts, probably with no shoes on and
Country living, yeah.
country. I thank God.
I think that's awesome. We should go back to that.
Oh, I'm planning on it. And
I know you do.
I'm planning on it.
And as you
This will be
mentioned,
my second home from Houston.
make sure there's room for us. We want to come and find out about these recipes.
I know.
She'll be at my house.
I do think it's a courageous path, and I must say that, and I want you to expound a little bit on this also, Gloria. For me, it's either you get pushed or you're pulled. I mean, oftentimes we have the choice to be inspired to go on that journey, or oftentimes, circumstance, health, or whatever it is, drags us into it.
Right.
Yeah.
But everyone that's had a close encounter with death would tell you that they found love and peace and joy and happiness. And from now on, they're going to live every day as a last. You know, they always see that light.
Wow.
And when they go in the light, they become enlightened.
Wow.
But that is scripture.
Now, share with us what makes this particular cookbook unique. I've thumbed through it, and I'm all about the Hattie's fried cheese, but what makes it unique? I want to hear your in the gumbo.
My favorite is Grandma Annie's fried corn.
Like we really need fried stuff.
I still fix it.
I do too. I did it the other day. That's why I'm commenting on it. I've always been a lover of fried corn.
What's unique? Share with us from the author's perspective. You know, because you've got a lot of heart into this. So, what is most unique about this cookbook?
Well, one thing, we tried to lighten up the old family recipes and not use as much butter and sugar and things of that sort. So
Okay.
whatever,
Health conscious.
and whatever dish is your choice.
Okay.
So that's one thing that's different. And then we start out by not telling you measurements. Because what my grandmother did, she just said, when it looks good and it smells good, it's guaranteed to taste good.
See, older people use smidgens and
Yeah,
touches.
they
and
season to
pinches.
taste.
Yeah.
I have measuring cups. I have a plethora of measuring cups. I can't imagine.
See, I only measure because I love to bake, so you usually have to measure when it comes to that. It's more
Baking
of
is
a science.
different.
Yes, it's different.
Baking is
But
different.
cooking, my mom, my sister, grandparent, a pinch of this, just grab this. It looks about this
Right.
much. It
Yeah.
feels about that
Yeah.
much. So that's how you know.
And that's the art of a true
Yes.
Cook.
Epicurean
Yeah.
person, culinary.
But if you need help now, I tell people, make my recipes your own.
So
Now,
adapt.
here are the ingredients, put it together. If you like more vegetables, say, in a recipe than fruit, put more vegetables than fruit. However, in the back, for those of us who are not as savvy, there are measurements with the recipes.
Well, that's a good starting point.
I'm not
That's a
I
great
see
starting
that
point
now.
for someone,
Yeah.
a little tweak here, a little tweak there, but you've
Thank
taken, yes, thank you for that. You've
Thank you,
taken a lot of the
Fly.
hard work out of it for us.
Oh yeah. I help those who probably are not as experienced. See, I cooked at those 12 years and never tasted the food I cooked. I cook by sight and smell.
Right.
Yeah, it has to look right. It has to be the right color.
Oh, it has to. If it doesn't look right and smell right, something is wrong with it.
I'm doomed.
Now,
I like the
Gloria,
conscious perspective. Yeah.
right now, Gloria, can you please let us know, for someone like myself, like I said, I don't like to do the hard work with it. I like shortcuts. Just tell me how to get there now. Okay, I don't want the scenic route. So, that being said,
3 ingredients, hon. You don't really have to cook.
okay, but with that being said, what are your key, some of the key ingredients to loving yourself? Just for like I said, for those of us
The
who
main,
don't.
the main key ingredients to me and loving yourself are don't give more love out than
Ooh, Alashonda. Amen. That is amen.
He's about to break out in a whole.
Yeah.
Don't love someone else
More than yourself.
or something else. Believe me, it's not just people.
Yes.
That's right.
Don't love
Hallelujah.
Yes.
more then you love you.
But see, society perpetuates that whole
Well,
feeling.
that's
Bump
what
society.
TV's all about. That's what
That's exactly-
advertising is all about.
Yeah.
They try to put you in that label. If you're not cute and small and little and dee-dee-dee and dee-dee-da,
Right.
you know, but everyone's not like that.
Well, and you know what? To add to your phrase, loving self, I am a firm believer that if you don't love yourself, you are not adequate to love anyone else because
Well, it's not that adequate. It's that you don't know how.
you're not in position. That's right.
We're not, oh, wait a minute, guys, we're not taught how to love yourself.
Yeah, I was.
Well,
Because we don't think it's
No.
look, I just said I was with 5 generations from slavery.
Right.
You know, my parents didn't have college degrees or even graduated high school.
Mhm.
Because they were, when it was time for them to go to school, they were in the field.
That's right. That's exactly
They were
right.
in the field.
But see, we're and you're right. Like we're not taught to love, or
We're not-
we're not taught to love ourselves because then you're selfish. Because that's
Get
how.
in there and clean that room. You know, they didn't really know. They didn't know.
That's,
How
what,
could they teach something that they didn't know?
that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
not indigenous for
Yeah.
slaves to take care of themselves. You took care of other people.
That's right, because we're hated, the slaves were hated, and they were also trained to hate each other, not so they wouldn't support one another. So self-love, well, that's like a foreign concept.
And the fact that we know it now is something we should pass on to our family and friends. You know, just
Oh,
like
for
anything
real.
else.
But we still have issues. Trusting, I guess it's trust.
One of the
And God knows, man, I have a big reason for that.
Yeah,
But God
absolutely.
in this book is amazing because one of the natural family members,
everybody's got one.
So, God had it so they got the second book out of the box. And only God,
wow.
only through the power of God.
Well,
Because I would have told you never, 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 never.
And you know what? I like to challenge I like to add to or challenge when you all say that oftentimes people of lesser formal education did not know. You know what? My grandparents, neither one of them, and it was years before I realized my grandfather couldn't read, didn't have beyond the 3rd grade education. But you know what? The love that they provided was this consistency. He was a consistent,
really?
he was a consistent provider, and my grandmother put 4, at least 5 hot meals on the table. That was love to me.
Okay.
I mean, to have tea cakes, to have 3 meals a
Food is
day,
love.
Right.
hot meals. I mean, and the consistency. So they loved me with some of the most fundamental things, like your cookbook that you.
Right.
That's like one of the most fundamental things in loving yourself. Honor it. You know. So this cookbook is just remarkable that it has those types of legacies in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I tried to pay homage to places that were loving to me, to people that were loving to me.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I call school. I have a park here that I have a tree with my name on it. And I'll go down there anytime and take my hibachi and throw some on there. And it's just great. You know, it's really great. When you really love yourself, give yourself that unconditional love like your animal would give to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yes, it
And
is.
it's not about who else loves you. You know, it's not about whether you have a maid or a husband or a spouse or whatever. It really is. It really has to come from you first.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Now, Fly, can you tell us where we can find your book, where we can buy your book?
That my website is keystoloveself.com.
And I think we
I-
have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say I hooked up I don't know how many websites in the past, so this is one of them. If you have a problem with it, please text me and let me know at Gloria@keystoloveself.com.
Now, we also have access to your book off of our website, do we not?
We do.
We do.
We do.
Okay.
The link goes directly to your website. So all of you folks go on to the All About You Show website and see the beautiful cover in the back, and go ahead and click the link and make that purchase. You'll be glad you did.
Now, while
Oh, yeah.
Gloria is out of state, she's still somewhat of a Houstonian. I think when I got here 30 years ago, you were already here.
was already there.
Was
I
already
was at NASA
here.
for close to
She was
20
at
years.
NASA for 20, right? And so then, so she's back in Virginia now, but still she's a Houston girl. So we'd like to ask that you support one of our own and go out and purchase her book, Key Ingredients to Loving Yourself, because it will be well worth your time. The recipes are good, and if you like cooking, then she has pretty much given you the basis for starting a very awesome meal that you can, kind of temper it to your own taste. I'm kind of spicy, so I'm going to spice
I love
everything
spicy.
up. It's going to have
Yes.
cayenne pepper in it.
You know how I see it also, Fly, and tell me what you think of this. These recipes, to me, they have an air of warmth. And when I think about them, I can't wait to get mine because I am going to incorporate it in my family and make your recipes a part of my family and my family tradition. I'm going to call my mother and brag, and then I'm going to call my sister, and then when I get together, I'm going to prepare one of these wonderful meals for them, and I know they'll continue to ask because it sounds like they're all delicious. So I'm looking forward to adding it to my family tradition, so part of you will be in my family.
Oh,
And Daydream
your
maybe.
book is in the mail. As of noon today. So you should get it in a couple of days, close
Okay.
to 3 at the most.
Wonderful.
But and that's one thing about it. And I tell people, meditate. When you go in the kitchen, leave the world out.
Ooh. That's
Honor
essential.
your food.
When you go into the kitchen, leave the world out.
Honor being able to eat a good meal.
Yeah.
Right.
See,
And honor yourself in doing it. And man, the smells that come out,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
And
it's
some,
just amazing.
I remember seeing women and even my grandfather, my father cook, and there's something about people when they go in the kitchen and they start humming. You like,
Yes.
okay, they in a world
Yes,
of they are on another planet. You like, just leave them alone. Something
Let 'em
good
do
is
what
coming.
they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they start humming and their hips move. You be like, okay, leave them alone.
And it really is therapy, and it can be therapy,
Yes.
especially for people who are depressed or unhappy, or you're getting ready to make yourself happy by something you put your hands to create.
Yeah,
So in essence, you are a creator,
that's right.
absolutely.
and we all. It depends on us how we want to write it, how we want to live it, and it's just amazing when you love yourself. It's just amazing.
It spills in everything that you do.
Yeah, it's
Everything.
contagious.
Everything you do.
It's
When
contagious.
you believe, when you be a true believer, and you believe in the word, amazing things happen.
Wow.
Mm.
And get out God's way.
Right.
Amazing things happen.
Now, well, now one last question. What would you like to say to our All About You family in closing?
I would like to say thank you for having me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting me with love and joy and happiness. And let's love each other more because our days are growing shorter.
Mm.
And all we can do is love each other.
Awesome.
Well, Fly, you have a good rest of the day, and we're going
Thank
to
you.
continue on, and we're going to use your show as a theme. But in the meantime, I think we're going to go to break. I love you, friend, and I will talk to you a little bit later.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Fly.
Bye-bye.
Awesome shares.
You are listening to The Bridge. Share your
I'm gonna
opinion
give
by
Papa
calling
Doc. Papa Doc made a couple of comments about the humming in the kitchen.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
They say I do that when I bake. I'll turn on music.
Studies say that people who hum and people who whistle are
Yes,
happy.
yes, yes.
Are happy.
Whistling is true.
I don't hum, I don't whistle.
I
I'm
whistle.
doing- I want to be happy, so I need to.
I do whistle.
I don't know.
I don't know how to whistle, but I'll.
I'm not a hummer. I don't know how.
I'm not a hummer
I really
either.
don't.
I had one of those big old ugly trucks, but I don't know how to hum.
I've never hummed.
What else? Oh, that's your ad.
Yeah.
Y'all do really good ads. I want y'all to know. See,
Oh, I did one for her too? I didn't realize
You don't
I
even
did one for
remember.
her.
I did. See, I give y'all all these breaks. You don't even know. Yeah, you got another one with Evelyn today. You do an ad for Evelyn.
Oh, that's what you want me to read. You know what?
Okay, so now I'm gonna wound her up, kind of blend it in with us, and then we go.
We
I
stretched.
just
We
have one
stretched her.
comment from Papa Doc.
Right.
Challenge him. Challenge him.
We don't have a whole lot of time to even talk about our stuff, but we just have to
Challenge
talk
him to
about
call. No.
No. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. What are you thinking? I'm so used to it being at the end.
It doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to be the close.
So she's at the end now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, now we have an
I
outline.
think
It
it's better.
startled me. No,
I think
it
it's
is better, but I'm like, why is
We gotta do.
So did she work with? Did they work together? Gloria?
I don't think so.
They never-
She may know Gloria.
Now when I hear the song, I see a certain entertainer go on stage. So right now I'm seeing her and I know exactly what she's doing. You know what I mean? Because there's certain songs that they'll play for certain entertainers.
Yeah.
It's a 19-year-old white girl from Philly.
And we are back. We just got off the line with interviewing authoress Gloria Davis Armstrong about her new release, Key Ingredients to Loving Yourself. It is food for the heart and warmth for the soul. Please pick up a copy from our website, www.allaboutyou.com, or at keystoloveself.com. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in, this book is about love, joy, laughter, and happiness. It is also about self-care, and as we cook ourselves into new bodies and maybe even new attitudes, it contains family recipes that have been passed down from generation to generation, along with a few new ones. This book contains stories of the journey and the lessons learned along the way, and we can all relate to that, I'm sure, right?
Right.
Now let's continue the conversation on with loving yourself. You are what you eat. As we know, loving yourself, we all know what it is, but we very rarely do it. Loving and accepting yourself is the #1 skill needed for everything else to matter and fall in place. And if you don't have self-love and self-acceptance, you have nothing, at least nothing that will matter to you for any length of time. To love yourself means to accept yourself as you are and to come to terms with those aspects of yourself that you cannot change. It means to have self-respect, a positive self-image, and unconditional self-acceptance. First vital step in loving yourself and care is care for your body and your health and your nutrition. Every time you take a mouthful of food, you are refueling the most clever chemical mechanism known, the human body. Food and water provide the fuel mix of vital nutrients that enables the body to function. Keeping your body running at optimum levels require the chemicals from foods, not from the laboratory. Chemicals from foods to work effectively and efficiently. Some foods have more to offer than others and should be eaten more frequently than others. It is the combination and quantities you choose which are important to help protect your well-being. So let's finish our conversation out by talking about loving yourself, and you are what you eat. That's so funny.
We're laughing.
Facebook.
Thank you everyone who's following along on our Facebook feed. Silky, would you?
Papa Doc just checked in.
Hey, Papa.
Hello, hey Papa Doc, and he is just
You gonna leave our chairs alone?
yes. That's, yeah, he. Oh, thank you, Papa Doc. Yes, thank you for that. But he was just talking about being in the kitchen, and he said, when we in the kitchen now, you all should come through for lunch. So
Absolutely.
So-
Let's have your address, please.
yes, address please. We'll be there because I'm hungry
Feed
now.
me and we're
That's
friends.
right. He says it is on when they start humming, and I agree. It is on.
Let me
Yes.
bring to mind, along with having spoken to Gloria, we're realizing that the market, TV, all the medias are pushing food. They're pushing it more than we need it. They're pushing
Because
hamburgers now that have hot
GMOs.
dogs on it. Okay, I'm just saying,
That's
it's
too
too
much.
much food.
Yeah.
All we had these what is it? All you can eat.
And then
Buffets.
upside.
Jumbo
Oversized.
And
Why
then
do we
upside.
have right? So just because these places, these businesses are offering you that, doesn't mean you have to take that because we are essentially overeating.
Right.
Absolutely, and it's not real food. It's
And
all
not
real-
processed.
That's right.
Exactly.
It's
Overeating
all
the wrong
processed,
stuff.
created
Yeah.
stuff.
In the lab.
Because think about it. Why is that? Why is food, quote unquote, food cheaper than water?
I want to know why water is
I
more
want to know why
expensive
we
than
paying for
gas.
it.
Yes.
I want to know why I'm paying for water.
But-
Hell,
Right.
God
Yeah,
gave it
why-
to me.
why-
More
why-
than I'm paying for water.
Why does it have a cost?
Right.
That's what I want to know. Why is
You know?
it free? And I
But-
mean good, clean water.
Absolutely, but there is a dark side to food in that the industries the corporations are pushing food. As I said, they have
That's how they're
hamburgers
poisoning
that
us.
have hot dogs on it with French fries and coleslaw and
And mac and cheese.
Yes,
I'm gonna
it's
throw
too
a
much
fried
food.
egg
And
on
collard
there.
greens
It's
on a
too
burger.
much.
I'm
And
like,
then
that's
smother
too
it.
much. Yes, over at the
Ooh, which
the
burger?
collard greens on a
Bernie's
sandwich.
Burger Bus. Yeah, they do that.
Oh,
It's
at
a-
Bernie's?
Yeah,
What's it
Bernie's.
called?
I forget what it's called, but
Look
they,
at her. She
Is
want
that
to know
really
where is
good?
it
Oh,
parked.
she want to wear it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I know
right
where it's
there.
parked. That's not a
right.
problem.
It's in Bel Air on Bel Air Boulevard,
See,
and
that's
they have
true,
a
it is.
burger like
That
that.
is too much food. If you're going to do a green, you need to
Collard
do the
greens.
green by itself.
Right.
Well,
Kale, you know, kale shake, green shake.
Hold on. At least they're having collard greens on a burger instead of 3 slices of cheese, bacon,
That is
and
better.
sauteed onions. I mean, so, you know, Barney's Burger Bus or whoever you
Yeah,
are, we
that-
applaud you for the collard
Put
greens.
collard greens on
Can I
it.
have kale and spinach on
But you
mine?
know, that's kind of like drinking a Diet Coke after you had an enormous gluttonous
But
meal.
people do that all the
I know, you
time.
had a gluttonous meal, and all of a sudden, give me a Diet Coke.
They eat 3 Cinnabons and then they say, oh, have Diet Coke,
Man,
please.
yeah, so how does that
To
work?
wash it down with Cinnabon.
Right, or glass.
Well, you know, I noticed from Fly's recipes that normally, and for the most part, they're all natural.
Yeah, they
You
are.
know, you're
Okay.
using not as much, you know, your
Right.
butters and your sugars and your molasses and that sort of thing. You're just not using as much.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
think it's better to actually use the real butter as opposed to
Raw
margarine.
ingredients, yeah.
Right.
You know,
It is
Okay.
better, and
And so-
that's been proven.
and it's about, I guess, the quantity that you use. You just don't want to overdo it. But the industry has us overeating. Then that involves us with big pharma, because after you've overeaten and gotten sick and diabetes and thyroid and high blood pressure and all these other things, then you're engaged in big pharma with medications. The whole idea is to take care of yourself, love yourself, to where you don't have to have medications.
Well,
And
and-
using food, maybe
And using
food as a
food.
medicine. But you know, we're told food is a part of our culture, so I think many times advertisers play on that.
Well, they do.
And those what the ads look like. There's a family, there's the food, there's friends, there's food,
but
there's
you
a
know-
lover, there's food.
every day is not Sunday at Medea's house. I mean,
That's
you can't
right.
eat
You
like
should
that
throw down
every
on
day.
Sunday, yeah.
Exactly.
You know, every day is not, you know.
Sunday is Sunday, one day.
Yeah, pound cake and.
Your cheat day and
Yeah.
Every day. You
One
can't eat like that every
day,
day.
people.
Now, Deidre, tell us about the Hispanic side of eating, because you guys
It's
almost
the same
like we
way.
do. You almost
It's
like
the
we do,
same
right?
way, except we have more
Yeah.
spice. It's the same way. It's
Yeah.
the, you know, the manteca tamales you make them with manteca. They don't taste the same if you don't. You know,
What's
you
manteca?
know.
What is that?
Butter.
It's lard.
It's lard. I was like,
Crisco,
that's lard.
But
Really?
it's lard, and those, you know, my people
They
know what
put
we're
it in
talking about. You
beans,
go to
everything.
Fiesta, and it's, you know, the bottom shelf, and if it's not in a big
Big
white
bucket,
plastic bucket
I remember that.
with the green label with white and also the red lettering that says manteca on it, my people know what we're talking about. Just like Crisco, when you fry some chicken, we do the same
I didn't
thing,
even know
and
they still use that kind of stuff. I mean, I
No,
thought everybody had
that's
oils
actually-
and
it's the
coconut
bottom
oil
shelf.
and peanut oil.
it's at the bottom shelf.
Okay.
It's still there, but you'd have to,
You
you
gotta
know,
go
bend a little
bend
bit.
down.
Yes.
Yeah,
So I mean, but we eat the same way, and it's unhealthy.
it is.
And you know, like I said, I've made what do you call it, flourless cakes
Oh,
before.
yeah.
And
You
how
know-
were they? How did they come out?
They're great. It's a bunch of eggs that you're having to beat. That's where all the fluffiness comes from. So you know, because when
Yeah.
it doesn't look right, people are like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah,
Well, I know it doesn't look pretty, but it tastes great. But you know, we eat with our eyes.
Right.
that's true.
It's
It
all about
has to have a
presentation,
feel.
right? So there's been a few times where I've snuck in healthy stuff when I've baked and not told my family, you need to check out this, and I didn't do this, and you know, with that. Just because, you know, somebody else in the house had health issues. So she's like, okay, well, we're all going to take care of ourselves and we're eating like this. I'm like, look,
And there's
that's
so-
them. That sucks. But can you make my own special? I want all the real good stuff.
Yeah, right.
I see nutrition is very, very important. When I gave up eating animal products, I had to learn how to integrate so many other things. You know, if you're going to have lard or if you're going to have heavy fats,
You have to give
then you
up
have to give up. You
something
have to
else.
integrate something else. Like
Right.
you may have to have artichokes to help process it. There's certain things that will help your body to process things a little bit easier. So maybe you can't have lard every day, but you may have it in small portions, and then intake something else that's going to help your body to process it, be it kale or be it, you know, whole broccoli or whatever it is. So I think it's about
It's
nutrition.
Right.
Take the time to learn it.
We
yeah.
need to remember that, you know, back in the day,
They
food was
ran.
medicine.
That's right.
It was.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what
you
I
know, we did okay. Well, there's these herbs. Do this, do that, and you know, even in Mexico with Hispanic, it's the same way. Except now we go to a señora what people would call, a witch. She's
Yeah.
a lady who can do this, do that, whatever. They got special herbs and that type of stuff. But it's still kind of the basic ancient practices. If we would just do that on a daily basis instead of when something's wrong, it's
You
easier
wait.
to prevent an issue than it is to fix an issue.
Right.
Yeah. Well, again, you go into big pharma once you get unhealthy, and that's what
Right.
the whole thing is about, But I hear castor oil is making a comeback. Have y'all heard
hello.
about that? Oh my
I had to
gosh.
learn.
Oh,
They have it now.
Back
that
to
it-
basics,
It has
people.
no
Back to
taste.
basics.
It has no smell because I recently had
As
to.
a child, I remember.
I had to
this.
take.
Oh.
It does not
And
have
is
the
it real
taste.
castor oil
It is
or is
real-
it a
no. I think it's cold pressed or some type of way that it's
Oh, it's fancy
extracted.
now?
It's fancy.
Kinda like olive oil.
It's
Yeah.
expensive, but you can get it. But does not have a smell or a taste, but it does still have a taste.
But what
You
is
have-
It's still
You have
thick,
to close.
isn't it?
It's
father
very
makes
thick,
tea.
so you have to prepare to drink some hot tea afterwards. But it helps to keep
It's
things flowing a little bit
digestive,
smooth.
yes.
But
Keep
if
you
you
on a regular.
If you eat the right foods, you don't have that problem.
Yeah,
And
but
speaking of
Not
that,
necessarily.
stress,
Someone like
stress,
me, I
stress can cause you to lock up.
Right, and I was gonna say, someone like me, I drink water all day
All day.
long. But even depending upon, because of my diet, I'm not a regular person.
I'm gonna tell
Even
you,
with water,
I'm gonna tell you something else
so
that contributes to that.
Artichokes.
You have to know how to do food combining.
Yes.
By that I mean proteins can be combined with vegetables,
Right.
but not with carbohydrates.
Right.
Yes.
Correct.
See, we eat protein, carbohydrates, fruit, everything all together.
carbs
Most
all
people
day
don't-
long, and I'm
Most
happy.
people don't eat fruit
Okay,
and
and then
vegetables.
that's right. And secondarily, carbohydrates cannot be carbohydrates. I'm sorry, can be combined with vegetables, but not
Not
with
fruit.
protein.
Yeah.
And not with fruit. Fruit is to be eaten all by itself, and also fat slows down the digestive process. So
Process,
sometimes you can get locked up because you have fruit which turns acidic in the stomach,
Right.
and then you've got meat, which your saliva and your enzymes break that down, but then you have the carbohydrates. So all of this is just
Sludge.
yes in your stomach. You know, so
Wait,
you
it
have
gets
to,
its weighing down and it's kind of binding.
right,
so
and
it's
you
hard
have to
pass.
learn how to combine foods. You just can't eat all that you want. So, with the holidays coming up, you have to be mindful of what you're doing, what your plate looks like, what a healthy plate looks like.
Right. Real quick, let me respond to Doc because he's still. Thank you, Doc, so much. Yes, we know. We'll fix the chairs. Gloria says she loves this because she gets to see lovely people. Thanks for we love you too, Gloria. Thank you so
Absolutely,
much
we
for
do.
joining us on the show today. Doc says daydream. My wife doesn't use that anymore. I'm sure he's referring to the manteca, the lard. Because it's unhealthy, but her Mexican dishes that she makes are awesome. Her Spanish rice and beans go hard and paint.
Go hard.
Yes, frijoles and rice all day long.
That's it for me.
You don't need anything
I'm a
else.
vegan,
We're never
yeah.
gonna go hungry. Mexicans
No.
will never go hungry.
Well,
Like
it's like
during
black
Harvey, I wasn't worried about. Oh my God, there's bread. I said, look,
Eat the rice.
tortillas. We're out of tortillas. That's fine. Give me some flour. Give me some manteca. We can make some tortillas. We'll never be hungry. Give me some fideo. We'll be fine throughout this storm. We don't need to be in the same aisles that everyone else is in because it's like, no, just go to the next aisle. Look at the bottom shelf. Grab your basic stuff. You can make some stuff at home real quick on a hot plate, people.
And so you have to know that you have to
My mom has made full dinners with one hot plate because we had gas
Really?
issues at the house. Yes,
So,
my mom can throw down.
That would challenge me to say that African Americans need to go back and embrace true African food, not slave food, because most of the Southern cooking or home cooking is not African tradition.
No.
No.
That's cooking that was imparted upon us from
That's-
scraps. But I think if you go to true, authentic African cooking, it's very nutrient rich
Yes.
and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
part of the
Absolutely
earth.
it is.
I have some close friends that are from other parts of the country, and some of their food is just awesome. I mean, it's
And you
amazing.
go to other countries and they give you tiny portions.
Right.
When you're in France and you're in Spain and all these places, you have just enough food within 9 inches of a plate.
Right.
Now, when you come to this country, the food is hanging off the plate. You've got to flip it back
Yeah,
on.
you got a 12-inch diameter
You got a
plate
12-inch
that's
plate
overloaded.
That's overloaded.
That's
And
right.
you start
and
sweating halfway through.
Right.
yeah, we get insulted if we get a small plate. Haven't you heard people say that looks like a saucer? No, that's a 9-inch plate. That's not a saucer.
I have been to places where you say sauce and they say, what? Well,
Yeah, right.
They don't know what saucer means. They don't. That means,
And-
yeah.
Right.
that's
Right.
scary.
You know
I
what,
want to recommend that you guys go to, there's a YouTube and it's called Feel Rich. And what it is about is celebrities and rappers and all basically changing and doing something positive actually as a good role model. They are changing the way that they're eating. And rappers that have lost enormous amounts of weight, is telling you how to do it. So again, it just kind of perpetuates what we're telling you here now. And I know from just being in real estate that a lot of the master plan communities now are offering community gardens.
That's true. Yeah.
So you can grow
Nice.
You can
broccoli
grow.
and asparagus.
Absolutely.
And you get to
You
harvest
get
as
to
well.
harvest it.
But you don't need a community garden. That's great and wonderful. Let's bring the community
need to have
together.
our own.
Know your neighbors.
Right.
Hey, that's great and wonderful. But we don't need to just wait for that to happen.
No,
we don't
we
need
don't.
for someone to create it for us.
No,
You can make
it's
full
basic.
gardens. Yes,
That's
potted
right.
gardens.
That's right.
Very easy, and it's not an overabundance.
That's
It's
right.
enough just for you, your family, your herbs, all that good, healthy stuff. We used to have chickens, and we had fresh eggs all the time. And there's a huge difference, people. There's
Yard
a
eggs,
very
eggs.
big, huge difference in flavoring. Just like whenever I go to Mexico, the food tastes different, and it's healthier.
Well, I guess on that note, we want you to take very serious the art of living well and eating well and taking care of yourself. Now, one of the things that I would like to say on the way in closing is that you can't control the aging process, but you can control how you age. Take care of yourself. There's medicine in the foods. There are, the foods have chemicals. Give up some of the processed foods that you're eating, and definitely give up the fast foods. Any last words from you, Daydream or Silky?
Since I changed my life and started eating better and drinking more water, exercising, and eating ground flaxseed and raw oats in the morning with whole milk, plain yogurt, and fruit.
Absolutely.
Regular.
Right.
I feel great, and you're right. And the pounds have dropped off. Now
Absolutely.
people want to know. That's not too much information.
Absolutely.
Well, what I was gonna say for everyone else who's like me, it's little small steps.
It's
Cut out
baby
the soda. Go to water.
Yeah.
And the way I worked my way up to that was I started with soda water, club soda, or mineral water.
Just
And now
minimize
I've
it.
worked, yes,
Cut out the
and
sugar.
then, but that has a lot of sodium in it, so I've weaned myself
It's a
from that and
start.
go into, right.
It's a
All
start.
these little changes make a difference. Go for a walk, 3 days a week, build that up.
Yeah.
20 minutes a day, then 30 minutes a day, whatever you can do, but any little thing that makes you feel better and where your happy, safe zone, those little things start adding up and they make a huge difference.
Guys, pick up a copy of Key Ingredients to Loving Yourself by the authoress Gloria Davis Armstrong, better known as Fly. And we will talk to you next week. How about that?
All right.
Live a healthy week.
Exquisite self-care.
That was good, right?
Thank you to all of our sponsors and listeners. Check out our website
I'll
at
read this one, so
www.allaboutyoushow.com. That's all about you, the letter U, show.com. Join our live feed on our Facebook page, OG Show. And follow us on Twitter at All About You Show. Remember, at All About You, we talk about the things you think about.
The underlying music is over the audio. All you hear is music.
Which song?
Just now.
Just our outro.
Okay.
Yeah, music's.
How come you just not telling me that?
I'm telling you right now because I just heard it.
We just heard it.
Saying right now. I didn't notice it last week.
But see, I guess now since you're doing commercials, you started to pay a little bit. I think Joy did that though.
Okay, I would love to read this, but where am I reading from? I can't read it.
Well, give me just a minute.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong with y'all?
May I have the keys in the ladies' room, please?
Somebody pick it. It's out there. I don't hold it.
I did it rough for June.
Okay.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I do.
I want to hear what y'all have. Evelyn probably won't do it till next week.
Yeah,
Wait,
I
wait,
did.
I
Just
usually
a
pick
rough.
from the three, yeah. So I'll read it. I'll let
Oh, right on the wall right here by the water cooler.
You have to hit that down on me.
You invited you over for lunch.
Okay. Gosh. Oh, it's okay, Evelyn.
I told you I'm tired today.
I
man.
know, I'm sorry.
Right here, welcome to So You Live Well broadcast hosted by Karen Perry. The So You Live broadcast is brought to you by BES Group.
So all this is out. None of
None
this.
of that.
Okay, so this is the starting, and then we go up to here,
Mm-hmm.
and you getting all
And
this in.
being strong, and now your host Karen Perry.
Okay. So if I can get all that.
I did it, but I and I can do commercials, but I can't. Something wrong with me.
Some
I'm
days.
tired.
She said
man.
something you gotta just. Hey,
exhausted.
that's we need to know.
Yeah.
We're talking to you. You need to take care of yourself.
Right.
Self care. You gotta do that. So the next
OMG.